So, dear children, very good morning, all of you. Today, we can revise the second lesson of history. Okay, so what are the main points only we can include this because this is a revision only. Almost all area we are covering by taking a lot of time and notes, then map study, everything is over. We can go through that lesson with a bird's eye view. Okay, ready? Yes. In this chapter, the first area that is coming is precious and land grants. That means in the case of Samanta rulers who want to be independent from the central empire, they started challenging or questioning or opposing the central government or emperor. And these Samanta rulers were appointing certain court poets for what for writing the praise words about the victories of the king. Let's say in another way we can say that is only a self-praising action done by these kings. And as a reward for writing these praising words by the court poets, they were given land. This land was given in variety form at that time. Land, especially in Chola Empire, that is coming in this administration. So, Prashastis and land grants. For writing Prashastis about the victorious stories of the kings, these poets were given what? Poets were given land as the gift or remuneration. And another area is tripartite struggle that is coming under the section of warfare for wealth. Okay, warfare for wealth means for capturing or annexing or adding or expanding the kingdom, the kings were engaged in conducting battle, conducting wars, fighting with each other with neighboring countries, especially for getting certain diplomatic areas, regions. In this area, first of all, we were introducing the tripartite struggle that were conducted by three dynasties in India. One dynasty coming from South India, that is Rashtrakuta of Deccan. Another dynasty was from eastern part of our country, that is Pala dynasty from Bengal, and another one is from North India, that is Gujarat and Rajasthan. What is the name of the dynasty? Yes, Gurjara Pradihara. All these three dynasties, who are they? Gurjara Pradihara of Gujarat and Rajasthan, Rashtrakuta of Karnataka, then Pala dynasty of Bengal, they were fighting each other for annexing, for adding or expanding their kingdom to get to which area that Kanauj. Kanauj you were studying in map study also. Okay? Yes, Kanauj. Because it is a very important area at that time. Yes, Kanauj. This struggle is called what tripartite struggle. So in this area, you should note which one, yes, which are the three parties engaged in tripartite struggle and for getting which area they were fighting each other, okay, and where they belongs to. That only you can remind here. And the second example of this warfare for wealth is related with Mahmud of Ghazni coming from Afghanistan, one of the neighboring country of India. This Mahmud of Ghazni, after capturing or pondering or adding a little part of Central Asia and Iran, etc., he gradually or slowly he was moving to northern part of our country. And this Ghazni was appointing an official in India to write about the culture of India. At that time, we Indians were following a temple culture. What's the meaning of temple culture? All the activities of the people were related with what? Temple. So what was the name of this writer? It was Al-Biruni. What is the name? Al-Biruni. What was the book written by Al-Biruni? Can you say? Yes, it is Kitab al-Hind. Kitab al-Hind was the book or an account or an explanation made. It is a work done by Al-Biruni. Yes, appointed by the king. And another one was Mahmud. Sultan Mahmud was also attacking in India. He was also coming from Pakistan. Sorry, Afghanistan. And but he could not win India or the targeted area. Targeted area means what was the destination? Why you know? He was defeated by one of the very famous Chamana ruler. Chamana is the name of a dynasty. What was the name of this mighty ruler from among these Chamanas? You know, yes, it is Prithviraj Chauhan. That means Prithviraj Chauhan could defeat whom? Mahmud of Ghazni. These are the three examples for warfare for wealth. And next one, as we were talked earlier, it is temple culture, especially this South India. Many foreign rulers wanted to invade India, targeting this one. Which one? These rich temples. So, especially in South India, there were two important temple cities. Were there. Temple city means a city full of temples. Means a lot of temples are placed or erected or established in every nook and corner of the country. The two examples of such temples, cities found in South India at that time were Tanjavur and Gangekonda Cholapuram. Tanjavur is in Tamil Nadu. Tanjavur is in Tamil Nadu. And this many temples were erected or established by two famous Chola rulers. Which are they? Yes, Raja Chola and Rajendra Chola. Raja Chola first and Rajendra Chola first. They were ordering for the work, ordering to to build many temples in Tanjavur yes, as well as Gangekonda Cholapuram. Then we can go to the administrative system at that time. Administrative system, first of all, we can go to the agriculture and irrigation. Agriculture and irrigation are interrelated or correlated. We know that because without water we can't grow anything. So most of the people were farmers at that time. Most of the people were farmers, and for farming or cultivating, what is needed? Water is needed. What were the sources of water that they were using under Chola administration? There were natural irrigation. Irrigation means water supply. Natural irrigation facility as well as what you know? Yes, artificial irrigation facility. Natural irrigation facility was given by God in the form of Kaveri River. Kaveri River was in the natural form of irrigation facility, and artificial form, that means we can say tanks and wells were made use of by the people. And yes, there were in the administration system we have to go through this five types of land grants given by the rulers. Five types. First one it is Vellan Vagai. Vellan Vagai means it is the land given to non-Brahmin peasants. And Brahmadana is the land given to Brahmins. Next one it is Shala Bhoga. It was the land granted or donated by the rulers for Shala. What is Shala? Shala, that is school, for running schools. And another one is Devadana. Devadana is maybe given to God. Yes, the land supplied or provided or granted or donated by the rulers to or for running temples. That is Devadana. And last one it is Pallichandam. Pallichandam is was the land given for what you know? for these Jainist monasteries, worship place of Jainist believers. Okay, and there were four types of assemblies also were seen at that time. Okay, assemblies. First one, Uri, non-peasants association. Another one is Nadu. Many Ur constitute what a Nadu means a group of Ur is called Nadu. Another one is Nagaram. Nagaram is the association or assembly or gathering of traders, village traders. And another one is Sabha. Sabha was the association or assembly of Brahmin landlords, rich Brahmin landlords. This Nagaram and this Sabha were assigned with certain duties also. In Sabha, there were three committees: irrigation committee, then gardening committee, and then one more committee, temple administration committee. And who can be a and they were supplying many facilities also. Who all can be a member of a Sabha? All the Brahmins could not be a member of Sabha. There are certain conditions. Which are the conditions needed for being a member of Sabha, that is Brahmin Landlord Association? First one, it is they should be coming from Brahmin family, and they should be in between the age group of 35 to 70 years old, and they should be rich landlords. That is second condition, rich landlords, and they should have their own homes. Another condition is they should have apt know-how or knowledge about what Vedas, for Vedas of Hinduism. And last condition was owners of the land, and they should be honest enough. They should be honest enough. These are the conditions needed for these Brahmins to be a member of what? Sabha. Okay, got it? Then, which were the taxes collected by these Chola rulers? Many taxes were collecting, and there are certain exciting tax system also were followed by Chola rulers among these people. One, it is vetti. Vetti means in the form of forced labor. The laborer were entitled to give tax, entitled to give the service to the state, to the country, to the empire, even though they are not willing also. That is called the forced labor, that is vetti. Another one is a tax on thatching their roofs. The small farmers, when they want to thatch their roofs, um, uh, for keeping safe from the sunlight or rain. At that time of thatching also they were entitled, or they ought to give a little amount, that is tax. Another type of tax, third one, it is ladder, when using ladder. Another one is at the time of succession of a family property. Yes, that means when the family property is divided among the sons or daughters, these people were entitled to give what? Tax. Okay, these were the different types of taxes they have to supply or give or donate to the country. And by this chapter is as a whole is over. Okay, then we can go through certain questions. I think all the questions are very simple. Yes. Okay, now political science first lesson we were making use for what? For this classes now. So no questions will be asked from political science. Okay, so next area for our periodic test one is the first lesson of what you know, geography. What is the name of that lesson? Environment, right? Yes, environment. Everyone know what is environment. Environment is actually our surroundings. Surrounded area of us is called what? Environment. There are three components of environment. Natural environment, human environment and human made environment. Okay, natural environment is what you know is lithosphere, hydrosphere, then atmosphere, that is land, water and air. This is called a natural environment. And human environment means all a person, an individual or group of individuals are coming under the category of human environment. It may be a family, it may be a religion, it may be a nation, it may be an association, a group of people. These are all coming under the category of what you know, human environment, including their family, individual, community, then a nation, etc., etc. And human made, very simple human made or artificial environment, what all things are artificially prepared or made by human beings, they are coming under the category of human made environment. That's artificial environment. For example, facilitating our life with houses, buildings, then railway, then roads, then what canals, then certain parks, then industries, etc., etc. All these are coming under the section of what? Human-made environment. Then what is lithosphere? Lithosphere is the solid portion of the earth, that is land, on which we are living. This is called what? Lithosphere. Hydrosphere is the water domain of the earth, that is five oceans and including certain rivers and all other water fountains. That is what? Hydrosphere. And another sphere is atmosphere. Atmosphere is the narrow zone of the earth which protect us from the dangerous rays that are coming from the sun. Sun is always emitting what? Heat and light. Some sun rays are useful, some are not useful, some are dangerous. These dangerous sun rays are called UV rays. What is UV? Ultraviolet rays. This ultraviolet rays is checked in the atmosphere. So atmosphere works as a blanket to keep us safe from the dangerous sun rays called ultraviolet rays. This layer that is keeping us safe from this ultraviolet rays is called ozone layer. You might have heard of ozone layer. Okay, this is under atmosphere. These are coming in natural environment. And there are two types of environment. One is living things and one is non-living things. How can we define it? Biotic environment and abiotic environment. Biotic environment is the world of living things, including, which are the two kingdoms? Plant kingdom and animal kingdom. Both are coming in biotic environment. They are interrelative also. Without plants, other creatures can't live. Without other creatures, plants also can't live. They are interrelated. All these two factors are coming in biotic environment, and abiotic means all the non-living things. That is biotic environment. Then what is ecosystem? Ecosystem is a huge system in which biotic environment including plant kingdom and animal kingdom is interacting. Again, all these plant kingdom and animal kingdom is interacting or depending on what? Abiotic environment, that is non-living things. So this mutual relationship between biotic environment and biotic environment with abiotic environment can be called what? Can be named as ecosystem. So what is our role? Our role is to keep us, to protect our nature without destroying the nature. We are not supposed to create any problem to nature. Problems may be categorized as three types of pollution. Which are the three types of pollution? Water pollution, air pollution and soil pollution. Okay, what is, and it is our duty to protect our nature when we are facilitating our blessed resources including biotic and abiotic resources. We should be much careful, and it is our duty to protect our nature. Otherwise what will happen? A natural calamity may be happening. So by this all the area is somehow it is revised. In the case of you can doubts, I will be there to clear your doubts. Don't worry. So all the best luck. Goodbye. Assalamu alaikum.